Earlier this week it was revealed millions of free-range eggs sold at Countdown until the end of last year may have come from caged egg suppliers. The Serious Fraud Office is investigating whether some Palace Poultry eggs sold in supermarkets as free-range were actually caged. Palace Poultry's Terry Fletcher maintains the eggs he purchased from his supplier Eco Foods Limited were free-range, and he has the invoices to prove it. But Palace Poultry's supplier, Robert Heheworth, told us he only supplied caged eggs to Mr Fletcher. We interviewed both men on Tuesday night. As you will have heard, each said the other was at fault. But if Countdown customers, and we're talking many thousands of eggs each week, did indeed pay for free range and get caged, what are their rights? We asked Jessica Wilson of Consumer, and she was very clear.
Consumer law is pretty simple on this. When a product isn't as described or is mislabelled, the consumer has grounds to go back to the retailer and get a refund. Now, in this case, if Countdown's able to identify what customers have bought the particular eggs and it can't vouch that they were true to label, then we think there's an obligation there to refund.
Right, full refund, not the difference between the cost of free range and the cost of cage?
No, full refund for what you paid.
And the interesting thing about Countdown is that they're all over their shoppers really forensically, because lots of them have one cards, right? So you know what you bought and when you bought it.
If Countdown is able to use that one card data to identify the specific customers who have bought those brands of eggs that it can't vouch for, then yes, that's right. Countdown has the information to refund those customers.
It's an interesting phrase, can't vouch for, and I'm running with the ball a bit here, but I'm curious. It seems that it's very hard to vouch for all free-range eggs per se. Some suppliers are absolutely explicit. They label on their packets what farms they're from. You can input a barcode into the internet and actually see pictures of the farms. But others, it's more confusing. Vouch for. Can supermarkets vouch for free-range eggs as much as you might hope?
Well, we would actually expect them to have chain of custody processes in place so that they can tell their customers that the products they're putting on shelves and charging a premium for actually are true to label. So we would expect them to do that.
So it's not sufficient for the supermarkets to throw up their hands in horror and say, gosh, we may have been duped too. It's actually their job to know.
You look, this is what consumers expect. They need to be able to have confidence in the products they're buying. And let's face it, most of us do our weekly shopping at the supermarket. We look for products, some of us, that are free range or have other environmental attributes, and we pay extra for them. So we need to be sure that we can trust those claims, and the supermarkets have a role here in making sure their chain of custody is up to scratch.
That's very clear. Jessica Wilson from Consumer.